Alon, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you here, man. I'm excited to hear more about your story and your insights. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is your book. You've got the book, The Entrepreneur's Journey.
Yeah.
What inspired you to write that book?
What inspired me? I think it's how we look at inspiration. What is inspiration? So inspiration came. Now, I don't know if what is inspired me or what inspiration came to me. So I was sitting in I was digging into Ken Wilber work and studying this, and there is a great book by Ken Wilber called The Theory of Everything. And I love the frameworks that he gave. It's a AQAL framework. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I said, I can put my life and my journey into the AQAL framework. And so I was sitting and meditating and writing, and suddenly everything makes sense in this sense of this diagram. The diagram suddenly got very symmetrical and very beautiful. And it was in a setting which was very Buddhist, Hindu setting, let's say. And so, I don't know, it just was a combination of some visual architecture diagrams from like temples and Ken Wilber and my life journey. So this is what inspired me.
That's really cool, this idea of the temples. I've never heard of that before. But I've never heard of the AQAL framework as well. What is that?
He called it all quadrant, all levels. Now, when you look at the work of Ken Wilber, he say that he is the most important or inspiring person for him was Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo was in India, and he created the integral yoga. So he's one of the liberators of India, and today there is a place called Orville in India. And over there, integral yoga was created. So Ken Wilber have created integral philosophy. Integral philosophy is based on this diagram, which describe how reality and which perspective we have on, as humans, on our outside or inside world. So where to put our attention or what character we get into. You can hold different perspective on reality. You can be me as, alone. What is alone? Whatever is inside of me, all my dreams and thoughts and emotion, but can also be alone as part of part of this community or part of a family or my children, or, so you always, every individual and every, even, table, every object on earth is part of, in a way. An atom is part of molecule, a molecule is part of cell. And it's going every dimensions that you look, there is a part of. So we have the I, they have as a we, and then we have it and its, which mean basically everything outside of you, or your brain, your hands. It's not what is inside of you, it's just the external representation of you, or the other person. And the same is you can say, instead of the internal we, as the internal, there is the external of we. So the external we are the system that we build, the bridges we created, and the philosophy, and demography, and the internet. So everything we create as a group. So it's our external representation as a group. So there are 4 dimensions to the AQAL and for reality. So it's basically subjective and objective, and individual and collective. So it's created intersubjective, interobjective, and the same in intra-subjective, intra-collective, which is actually the presentation of the inside of the many and the outside of the many. So these are the 4 dimensions. I hope I was clear.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit complicated, but you need to look at the diagrams, then you understand there are 4 quadrants. It's created by 2 parameters. And that integral yoga, meaning yoga is everywhere. It's inside of you or outside of you, the route, yoga, they call it as like the route. Some So you can work on every dimension to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually all the time like playing with this dimension with our perspective as we look at things. So entrepreneur journey, you can say, what is business? What is my company? What is a business? If you think about it, so business can be, what the entrepreneur having is is his vision. This is a business. It can be we as a team. The business is actually we. It's a team. Or it can be the products that we build is also the business. And also it can be the market itself, and how the market sees us. It's external. So what the market sees us, and what is our interaction, the business interaction with the world. So there are 4 dimensions to look at business, and from that perspective, we started to dive in and created the framework.
And so you took that, and then you put your journey into the book. Is that the idea?
First, before that, I added another dimension, which is input and output. Maybe we can show here to the audience the diagrams, they understand.
Yeah, I can put it up on the screen for sure.
Yeah, so for every quadrant, there is an input and an output. So I look at it as like input and output of information. So what is a human? You can say your internal self. What is the input? The input is your information that you get from the external world. And your output is your expression. Eventually, as a human being, you have an input and an output, your expression or your actions. So, and it can be the same for the groups. Every group have an input and an output. And it's the same for the system, input and output. So we spec this input and output for every quadrant. And by that, we reveal 8 steps of the entrepreneur journey. If we add it to some hero journey, we reveal the hero journey of the entrepreneurships.
Right. So you also wove in Joseph Campbell's.
Yeah, exactly, Joseph
right?
Campbell. What is surprising, both Sri Aurobindo and both Joseph Campbell, which they created a diagram, both of them were inspired by Vivekananda, Swami Vivekananda. So it's interesting to see that there was an impact, and we see how the impact of India and the Hinduism was on the West. And basically, I took these diagrams that represent the Hindu tradition, and now I provide it back to India to see, hey, look at the West. Your gurus came to the West. We have, and I show them how business is being created, and you can look at business in a way by the eyes of their own gurus. So it will help them to guide them in how to actually navigate their own business or businesses in India.
Right.
But I do like to believe that this is like in the age of AI. I will say this word. It can lead the conversation to AI. But so I do believe that if we are in a ram race of creating AIs, it will be nice that also the spirit of India will be one in the can succeed and prevail. And because I found it very loving. So it can be a loving AI can come from India. I would like the entrepreneur to succeed in that. That's all.
I find that really interesting, the kind of contrast that you have between somewhere like India and then in the West, where the West seems to be very kind of, it's much more capitalist, it's much more consumerist, whereas in India you've obviously got thousands of years of history and yoga and culture, and there's more of a, seems like there's more of a spiritual grounding, whereas in the West there seems to be, it's focused on business, it's focused on making money. Where do you see like the intersection of those, and do you think they support each other? Do you think that the way that we do things in the Western world is imbalanced? Could we be taking more inspiration from?
I think it's like in ecology, when you have a habitat and you have creature in the habitat, the creature are adapting and evolving. And I think that as human, we make believe whatever we want. So we are a make-believe creatures. We create our thoughts, we create our cultures, we create stories, we make it up. And we made out certain stories in the West, which were which were the best that we could make, until we do the best that we can. I guess if we call ourselves West here, and the same in India. So perhaps the population of India become 1 billion, and in order to have 1 billion living in peace, you need to create a culture of peace. So they can live and not destroy each other when the population is high and where resources are low. So you have resources low, a lot of population, you need to have a culture that sustain this mechanism. And in the West is we adapt here to snow. Well, I don't know. I guess. What is we can think about we adapt to judgment systems. There is a difference. There is a big difference between the East and the West in the way there is a dualistic thinking. So there is a development of a dualistic thinking in the West.
Right.
Yeah.
And for anyone that's listening that isn't familiar with that term, how do you see that concept of dualistic thinking? Like, what is that?
It's a judgment that we hold. It's in a way that we have a judgment system here, and law. And what is some character of the law is that the clear definition between right and wrong, good or bad. So, and now, when you take any creature, and you hit him once he do something bad or something wrong, you teach him what is bad and wrong by physical way or by punishment. His nervous system get adapted to that, and it's actually embedded in his neurology. So in the West, we have this bed of ethics or ethical, patterns in our thinking that can govern the way that we behave and work and decide on things. And in the East, let's say more of the Buddhist thinking and the Hindu thinking, the Zen thinking, the non-dualistic, it's more of a non-dualistic, meaning there is let's say, more of a smooth transition between the good and bad. So they live on a vector. Instead of living on yes or no or binary, it's more of a line or a vector that have 1 to 100. So thing can be more, I call it on and off. Thing can be more on and more off toward something. So every decision can be made with 3 points. So if in the West is 2 points, so you have wrong, bad, and good, when you have a 0 to 100, you need to, when you say on and off, it's toward something. So you have a third element, which is, I find it very productive. So if you take your judgment in your own head and turn them into like a scale, that will be very kind and nice to yourself to do, because you will feel better, because you will not have these emotional spikes. It just lead me to another subject of like option dialogue.
Right.
And what we do with this emotional spike. So I can talk about
I'll
that.
remember to come back to that, but I want to hear more as well about your book, The Entrepreneur's Journey. I'm sure people are going to go away and read your book, but what are some of those steps from the 8 steps that you mentioned? Okay,
we're starting. These steps are always happening. They're always happening around us, but we can make them better. It's like processes that happening one after another, but we can make them better when we always get back to them. And maybe we can use your case. You want to use your case as like a, let's say, film.
Yep.
Film, creating a film. So we're starting with sensing. Sensing, it's basically, this is how we started the episode. It's all about like receiving the inspiration.
Right.
So if you look at the artists and the musicians and the authors, there is a great book for Elizabeth Gilbert. Elizabeth Gilbert, yeah. Yeah, and so she talked about inspiration and how we can be receptive for inspiration. So it's starting sensing is a receptivity to information and to inspiration. So this is basically awareness. Yeah. So if you have a product, you make a film, it's awareness of the audience, the awareness of the market, it's awareness what they want. It's awareness, not only that, what idea you have. So it's awareness of the ideas popping in your head. So it's some kind of you as a vessel for this information. So that is sensing. And you can make it better.
Right, you can be more receptive.
Yeah, you can be more receptive. People do it in different practices. It will be more physical practices. People talk about feminine, masculine, self-caring, meditation. But in the end, I look at it as making the vessel more receptive for information, for the input. The output, in the second step, is expressing. So we can make their expression better. So the artists know that. They know, if you create a company, it's better that you know to speak a little bit, because you will not get nowhere if you cannot open your mouth and describe what you're building,
right.
why you want money maybe, why people should join you.
So it's like the first step is kind of like the idea. The second step seems to be communicating.
Yeah, and this is things that are happening inside the self.
Okay.
So as an entrepreneur, these things are happening inside the self. Now, so you have input, output. But then to what? Then we get into the third step. The third step is when we turning our perspective into the we. So the internal collective. To make something, always, everything you see around you is actually made by people and few of them together. It's very weird to understand it, that we're actually collaborating all the time. And collaboration is the third step, when you're stepping into like the world of the collective. This is what we do, let's say, with a child, you go at home, you go to school. We are in a journey all our life between us and the many. And we merging into the collective. And we do it all our childhood, and be trained to do that, to go every day to school, and you meet your friend, and you see your teachers, and then you go back. So it's a journey that we do daily. Then you do it at work. And to create something will be extremely beneficial that you make it in a team. So in order to make something in a team and your vision to be heard, it's kind of a leadership step. So it's a leadership transformation to understand that there is a team to be taken care of, or to lead, or to inspire with your inspiration. So the third step, I call it reorient. It's a time that we build a team. In a film, in the movie, it's a crew.
Yeah.
You build the initial crew, and you do it always. You always recruit them. So this is like, I don't know, MacGyver time. Or Mission Impossible time.
The montage of getting
you're getting the team together.
Right.
So that's the input. What team also needs, beside the team and the team itself, it needs the resources. Sometimes they need to feel secure. They need to be taken. Maybe they have dependents on them, and they need money, or they need so. In order to build the team, you need to secure the team also that can work. So that's the next step. Reorient, and then the output of the team will be the planning. So when people are sitting together, they make a plan. So you want them to be able, and you together, to make a plan. How few people sit together and make something, and make idea together. How do we do that? Can we do it better? Can we make communication better? Can we make a way that when we create something, they can be, there can be many arguments. There can be, people will have just emotional response between each other. There can be envy. There can be, blaming. How can we make creativity as a team in the best way possible? There are frameworks for that, and people have learned to do that. So we look at this step and we optimize this ability. And everything I'm saying also, you can implement with AI as well. So everything can be enhanced. Once you are clear what are the steps and what are the processes that are happening, then you can also make them better with some artificial intelligence, if you like. So that was half of the
first 4 steps.
The first 4 steps, and this is the left side of the diagram.
Okay.
And it's dealing only in the inner world. So that was the inner world of the individual and then the collective.
Yeah.
5th step, we are stepping into the external. In the external, after the plan, what the plan are being used to build. We have a team that is starting to build. Building, making, creating. You can do that better. You can do that from the perspective of the product, we can call it, or the film, or the thing that's being created. There is an input and an output. What is the input of something that's being created? It's we can say in the software, it's lines of code that the team is entering. And in a product, it can be the material. You have things that are input of the things that we're making in the real world. And you can work with that better. You can also optimize. We have agile methodologies, for example, in development, or there are different framework for factories and how we can make work better and faster. Because now we are in the external world, we want to be faster and efficient as well, because there is cost for our team to work. So I called it development, and after development, the output of the development is the functionality of the product. And the functionality of the product, I call it a function, which basically it's the steps that we deploy, that things are starting to work, that we test. It's a place that it's our output of the technology of the product. It's a first screen view. It's the first, after the edit, it's the reels that coming from the edit of the film. And we look at the quality, and we want to make sure that the quality is good. So what are the processes that govern quality creation and testing? And then, so this was the output, and then the input again into a new perspective, and the new perspective, it will be the external individual, which will be the market or the stranger or the image of somebody, the unknown. So, in a way, in the business, there is some element of an unknown figure as a stranger itself. Who is a customer? What is a customer? The user. They have different name for that, but imagine what it is. It's just a projection of imagination of somebody that do not exist really, but is somehow representing some group. It's an avatar of something amorphous totally. And we need to communicate with it. Our product needs to communicate with that. So the next step is engage. The input of this character, it's all the marketing material, it's the way that we put the product to the world, the way, whatever this avatar see. I call it the user or customer. And I call it the user. Although it's not a nice name, the user.
It could be audience for a movie as well.
Audience.
Yeah.
So engaging with audience, it's a campaign that we make for our movie on the buses. It's a review in the newspapers. It's a festival Cannes that we're going. And the output of the user, what is it? It is feedback. So the next one is a feedback. So we need to make sure we're collecting all the feedback in the best way possible, because the feedback is the thing that lead to another cycle. All the time, and if we hone into the feedback, we can sense into the feedback, and we lead into another cycle. And also our team can do that, so they can actually take decision from now on once they have customer feedback. And that's the cycle of the entrepreneur journey.
I love that. The one thing that really resonates with me was the emphasis on one of the first steps being to build a team. I think that's one of the things that, I think on social media, for example, one of the big things these days is the idea of a solopreneur, build a course, build a podcast, build some kind of brand for yourself. And it's very solo-centric, but everything that I've seen that has been really pioneering and kind of groundbreaking, there's always been a team behind it. And whether that's a movie or a company or a business, there always seems to be people coming together. But how do you see that? So let's say somebody is a solopreneur, they're working on their online business, they're a content creator, and they don't necessarily have a team. Do you think that person needs a team to run their business, or how does that
Need is an interesting word. That we can say, what is need? Sometimes we say need when our wants are not enough. So we need a team. So wanting a team is not enough, so you make it into I need a team. I do think that people want a team. I think people like to be in interaction. They like to work together. This is something so natural. Even if it's a man and woman, it's a team already. And you have parents, you always in a team. You are always in a team. It's time to recognize who is your team. Some people are supporting you. Even you're a solo entrepreneur, there are people around you. There are always people around you. Because when you come with an idea, somebody can say, this is not a good idea, or this is for his own interests, or somebody can say, this is an amazing idea for his own interests. You're always part of a team. There is always feedback around you. There is no such thing as being alone. Now, we do see it coming with AI. People come in some, I just saw Base 44, so there was an Israeli guy, and he wrote Base 44. It was an agent. It's become very big. It's a multi-agent system that you can build any website, similar to Lovable. All this Replete. I don't know, all this software that you create vibe coding. So he built it by himself while he was in the army for 6 months, and he sold it for 40 million. So this is an example. This example started to happen. A solo entrepreneur that writes the code himself and sells the company himself, So it's becoming viral, and it will be the same for content creator. You make a video, suddenly you have millions of views, you've done it yourself, but there's always a team still. Still there is a team. Still you're collaborating. Right. Still you need to make a deal, you need to sell. Still you need a lawyer. Still you need a banker. Still you need the tax. Still you need many things that are going to be around, and it's all teams.
Yeah. How do you think that's going to look going forwards with the prevalence of AI?
Yeah, that's a good question. I thought about it, and we released a framework as code for GitHub. So basically the way the things are working today is that you're creating a multi-agent system.
Right.
You always have a team. So now when you work with ChatGPT, you have only one member, we can say. But you can have a multi-member working, and it can go according to the framework. So people that assist in you, or agents that assist in you in the different tasks that you need to put. So for example, capturing idea or handling your own body, can have an agent for that. Expressing, writing what you say, capturing movies, helping with your expression is another AI. Team management, team configuration, team, salaries, all this can work with AI as well, can be enhanced. Then planning, all the way that we work together, all this, Jira platforms, all the chat communication, backlogs. So the way we work together is also can be enhanced by AI. Each one is an agent. So you can put responsible on every step by an agent. An agent would run, and so people are already getting, if I can continue to say about the agents for the 8 quadrants, but it's a very common thing, like to have a multi-agent system now, when one of the agents is responsible on quality. So it's a function one. So it's only get to you, the output only get to you after it passed quality assurance. And also, somebody is controlling the speed. So there is always, this thing is always, every software can be created by a team of agents, and the agent can operate as we describe in the entrepreneur journey framework.
If there's anyone that is, let's say they're not super familiar with AI, or they've been using ChatGPT to get prompts, and they're feeling kind of overwhelmed by all the different things, you mentioned agents and things like that. What do you think is the single one most important thing that people could be using AI for, whether it's in business or in life? If they were to focus on one thing first, whether it's learning that tool, what do you think is the most important thing that people should be focusing on with AI?
I can make believe an answer, I don't know what is a single, but I will tell you I make believe something. And we are created something. I believe that, first of all, I guess mental health. Mental health, so if something is happening to you and you have some emotional spike, let's say like that, or emotional response, you can actually talk to him and dig into that and think about it. And maybe next time that it will happen, you have less of a response.
Right.
So to have a companion or a person that you can actually talk to and which can ask you questions, and he's rather loving, so you can modify him to be more loving and better, but actually to talk about things. It's just like to share.
Right.
So I think people are very lonely, And maybe even with the loved ones, they can have bridges. And with AI, it's wonderful. You can talk about everything.
Because you know that it's not a human that's going to have its judgments.
And you can tell them, can you please be non-judgmental when you talk to me and not directive, the way I like it. So you can configure it, and we have amazing prompts. If somebody listening, we can give him some prompts. Then you have these prompts, and you can actually talk to me. You can put a voice, you can put a camera. It's very nice.
Right. So I really like that as an insight, actually. I personally have had some really great chats with AI, and it has some questions that make me go like, wow, that's really profound, actually. Yeah. So I really like that insight. So then jumping back, you mentioned, did you say option dialogue that you wanted to speak about?
Yeah, I can connect it, but maybe I will say that we are working so I'm founder of Neurotech, neurotech.com, which is I guess there's an intersection between consciousness and the brain and the mind to technology onto the outside world. It's very similar to what I described now in the diagram, between the inner and the outer world. So there is some kind of connection between them both. And AI, there is a connection with AI between them both. Now, your body, I will not get into the details of that, but they have lie detectors. How lie detector is operating. Somebody can read your emotional response. It's possible to read them.
Right.
It was possible for the last 100 years to read your emotional response. So if the AI can do it, then it can take care of you. Once you have systems that actually see what is your emotional responses, the system can take care of you.
Right.
And you can optimize yourself all day long.
Yeah. So that seems very similar to what you were speaking about with using AI as mental health, but it's much more plugged in.
Yeah, so we implemented our methodology of option dialogue into the AI. And
what is option dialogue, by the
way? Okay, that's a good question.
I've never heard of it, so I'm curious.
Option dialogue is a series of questions. It's a dialogue that you have. There is one person is a mentor, one is an explorer. We make believe this, game. And one is exploring what he's thinking, and one is asking Socratic questions. You do it between two people. You can do it one to many also, I guess, in a group. The question are, and the attitude of the mentor is predefined in a certain attitude. They need to step into a certain attitude, which is one, loving, which meaning happy who the other person is. Second is not judgmental. The mentor will be non-judgmental. Not saying good, bad, right, wrong, not thinking this way. 3 will be present. The mentor is present, meaning he's not projecting any movies in his head when he talks to a person. He's with them. He's just with them, listening.
Yeah.
And not projecting his own self as well, and non-directive, meaning the mentor do not put a goal for the other person. So, in a way, option dialogue is a way to, let's say, help to think. So, when you are thinking, I'm just with you. So, having a presence with somebody with you to think. In a way, it's very similar to listen. The mentor is actually listening, but it's also not even listening. It's like, we are together, you can think. We are here together. You're letting the person think. And it's very surprising what people come up with when you give them a space to think by themselves. Usually people are looking for answer outside of them. And in the option dialogue, the mentor assumes that the explorer is his own best expert.
They have all the answers.
They have all the answers. So we'll ask him, okay, so what do you think about that? What is the answer for that? And so it's a kind of a dialogue that you make with a person, and a person can do it with his own self, but that's the most loving way to be with another person. So this is actually, we think it's the definition of what is love. What is love? Now, I learned this for my teachers, which were in the Option Institute. and Barry Neil Kaufman and Samaria Kaufman. I hope they're hearing me now.
Yeah.
And they done amazing, holy, amazing work with children. And I think they have taken care of 40,000 families of autistic kids and different disabled kids. And in a way, by loving them, the idea was joining. So if you have a child, you know, so Bears and Samaria, they had a child was born, and he was autistic. Ron, today is my friend, but Ron was born like I think he's my age, and was severely autistic, and they decided that instead of like doing the normal pills or hospitals, or they try to find a way that will be aligned to their values that feel loving to the child. So what they decided to design a program that joined the child. So when the child was on the floor and flickering in his hands and turning a plate, they joined him. And so they work with themselves, with the option process, with their own self, in order to remove the judgment about the situation and actually be with them, be with the child. And they sat, I believe they sat with, I recall they sat with the child like 2 years in the bathroom floor, and having people and all the sisters and brothers like helping as well. And you know, eventually the child can understand that perhaps it's nice to actually, that somebody is joining is perhaps it's nice to play in 2 instead of 1. So you can look at you. And when you look at you, you are like, wow, thank you for looking at me. That's amazing. So you deal with a person with the utmost, most loving way you can. You being most loving with him. And what happened is, you know, the child got out of autism and was completely cured.
Wow.
And today is a brilliant man. But the thing is, like, they started to adopt more children. In different cases, it was like a child that they took from an orphanage that his father slit his throat and he wasn't talking. And it was, which I met as well, was also an impressive guy. You know, it's everybody. They are so beautiful. It doesn't matter where they come. You know, with love, they're becoming so beautiful. And so people start and come. And they went to Oprah Winfrey, and that was a little bit of that made a big boost. There was a movie in Hollywood about them. There is a movie. It's called Sunrise. If somebody wants to watch, you will see my teacher there. But it's actors. And so I came across this work 25 years ago. It took me many years to learn this work and what is the definition of being loving from them. And this is Option Dialogue. I was certified last year before the institute closed its gates completely. I am the last mentor.
Wow.
I'm the last mentor of this.
Like a movie, The Last Mentor.
The last mentor. I guess I'm the last mentor. Male mentor, I'm the last male mentor, for sure. I had like 5, and we've been tested very carefully.
Yeah.
And every conversation was checked.
So you really
marked.
have to train to be able to lead this process. It's
Yeah,
not just something
because every question can be on and off.
Right.
So there is an algorithm that's running. There is an algorithm that's running about what do you ask? What's the question to ask? It's according to experience with all these families and everything that we went through. You know, families come with children, and then first of all, they need to learn to love the child. Because they're judging him, they're judging themselves, they need to learn to love themselves. They're judging him, they're judging themselves, they're judging the world.
Yeah.
They sometimes do not see hope, and you dialogue with them, and you be loving with them, and with time, they can decide to change the way that they look at life, or the way they look at the child. Then the work can start. So the Option Dialogue is created for that.
Right. And so you wove that into this concept of Neurotech, the Option Dialogue system.
Yeah. Look, what I like about Option Dialogue, it's not a therapy. So we call it an Option Dialogue, and I can say other name, but it's not a therapy. There is nothing to be fixed. The idea is that the mentor do not try to fix you. There is nothing wrong with you. We're not looking where is wrong with you. There is no point in that. Because We are being loving with you. Whatever you want to explore, we're exploring. So I started to record some podcasts. I do like with some, I just say, we're exploring in live. I show people how to explore. You can explore now if you want. I can ask you for questions for 1 minute. And you show the audience. We can show the audience what it means.
Sure.
The option dialogue. So we can do a live example if you want.
That sounds great.
So what do you like to explore?
What do you recommend? Like, what is a good area that you could use it to focus on?
What do you mean by good?
What would be, if there was one that we were going to do for this 1 minute that would have the most impact or the most, transformational effect?
So what do you believe can do that?
Maybe around, let's say, like mindset, for example, around my mindset.
So what about your mindset you like to explore?
Perfectionism. I think that's one that I've been thinking about a lot recently. There's been a pattern I've noticed where I've been very perfectionistic, and things have to, whether it's the stuff that I'm creating, or if it's just about myself, like holding myself to certain standards. I think that would be interesting.
So what is an example of one time that you did this?
So let's say one of the examples is yesterday I was very productive. I did an hour-long morning meditation. I went for a 15K run. I was working on one of my movies. I was revamping my podcast. I did a bunch of video editing work. Was writing my script, like ticking off all of these things, and there still felt like there was this, like I didn't do enough, or like there was something missing. And I thought that was really interesting because it seemed like there would have been no amount of things that I could have done that felt like it was good enough, or to the level of myself that I should be. Like it felt like there's a few things that I missed out that I could have done in the day, and that's something that I've noticed coming up quite a lot.
So how did you feel when you had this realization?
Well, I think the feeling around the perfectionism is like this kind of, it's like this heaviness, this, like, damn, that could have been more. It's like this heavy kind of feeling. And realizing that kind of perfectionism, it was kind of like a curiosity, like what's on the other side of this? What would my life look like if I wasn't living in this way? How would it feel to be?
So what is the answer for your question? How your life will be if you didn't have this perfectionism?
I think I would be so much more peaceful and content and happy, just to be grateful for being, rather than feeling like there's a certain amount that I have to do in order to feel like enough. I think I would just be much more content. And I think actually maybe I would be, the work that I would be creating, I'd enjoy it more.
So for this example yesterday, so what is you said there's something you can do in order to be enough.
Yeah.
What was it that you can do in order to be enough in the example yesterday?
So for example, all of the other things I mentioned that I worked on, the one thing I didn't work on is the cacao business that I'm building, like a cacao brand. And I've got this, this list of things that I need to do for that. I need to update the website and all these kind of things. And just that knowing that I hadn't done that one thing was like, damn, I didn't do enough, But I wonder if I'd done that, maybe there would have been something else that I could have felt like I needed to do,
So what will happen if you didn't do this, damn.
If I didn't do the damn thing.
Yeah.
I think I would just feel more peaceful, I guess.
So why do you believe you did it?
Did what?
To say, damn, I didn't do the thing, and feeling heavy. Why did you do this to you?
I think there's something about not like wanting to live up to my full potential. This idea and feeling like if I'm not maximizing my output in terms of what I'm doing, then maybe I'm not living up to my full potential, or I'm not going to achieve the things that I've wanted to achieve.
Do you believe that? So you believe do you believe that?
Which part that that if I...
If you don't do the maximum,
Yeah.
then you will not get to your full potential.
I think that's maybe the belief. That's the kind of pattern, I think. I don't logically think that's the truth.
How much is the maximum? When you say maximum and you say, how much is it? How much is good enough for you to be enough?
That's the thing. I think it's one of those, the goalpost is just always moving. It's like chasing a carrot on a stick, you know, where there's no amount that I feel like I could do that it would be, I think the enoughness, when I'm placing outside of myself, like something that I have to do, there's always going to be something more that I feel like I could do externally. I think that the enoughness is something I need to cultivate within myself first, rather than it being based on external output.
So will you do that?
I'll try my best.
What do you mean?
I mean, I'm working on that for sure. It's an intention that I have. It's just, it's like some days I'm better at it than others, you know. Some days I'm more loving to myself for what I've already done and feeling like I'm enough, and then other days I fall back into the pattern. So I guess it's just trying as much as I can to stay on that path of alignment.
Can you be loving to yourself now?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think so.
You want me to count 1, 2, 3 and you'll be loving to yourself and believing that you are enough?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it feels like I go in and out of it, you know. So maybe the challenge is just being able to sustain it more and more. Like as we're speaking about this, it's like I come into that state of remembrance, like yes, I am already enough as I am, and it's okay to just be, and that you don't need to do. But then who knows, in like a few hours, I might drift away. But I think it's just about bringing myself back to that.
I can talk a lot about this subject. I will hold for a second the option dialogue. So that was a little bit demonstration of how we talk. So we go with you, and I go with you with your thoughts.
It's just open questions, it seems.
Yeah,
it's
it's
very
open question. We're just exploring.
Yeah.
Exploring. Sometimes persons say, because I'm not enough. And say, why do you believe that? So, you know, so it's a very common, you see that people are not enough.
Yeah.
And it's mind-boggling. You hear how general the belief is. The belief is like so general, I'm not enough. It's not like I'm not enough in very, very specific thing. It's like in general, the mechanism, the whole being of me is not enough. Now, while you can look at a plant and you say, how is this plant? This plant is good. This plant is enough. It's a good plant.
Yeah.
You know, but on ourselves, we're always not enough. And so the stone is enough, but we are not enough. So I think this is the realization of this enoughness is very important. So this is a self-love. I like to mention that perhaps it's okay that I mentioned I met a friend, and I will not mention his name now, I don't know. But he became very famous, very, very successful, one top in the world in his profession. And he was very passionate, and when you explore, you know, super fast, and so he's something different about him. Sometimes with a high performer, and you see something different. And you say, you know why I'm like that? It's because my friend grew up in the street of India. He was an orphan in the street of India. When you are an orphan, and when you have no other person to love you, the only way to proceed and to overcome is to love yourself. There is no other option. And when you love yourself, everything changes. Everything changes. You become more productive. Your dreams are, everything can be better. When you learn, first of all, to learn to love yourself, and what it means is happy with who you are.
Right.
Whatever you are, is happy with who you are. Because that's a self-love.
Yeah.
It's extremely effective.
Right.
Extremely effective for high-performing people. Is sometimes you see them, we call them narcissists as well, you know. But that's a judgment for people that love themselves. But you can also love yourself and love the other. And there is no way actually to love the other without loving yourself. because they don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And I can describe again the definition of love if it's helping to the audience to understand what is love.
Yeah.
And I will say again, so that's what and you can develop you can configure a ChatGPT if you like. So please be non-judgmental, non-directive, present with me, and happy with who I am. This is basically what is being loving. And the fifth one, I say useful. So in the option dialogue, we ask a useful question. You can do whatever you want to be useful. But it's also an act of, it's action. There will be a need to be an action in loving. So
I hear that.
yeah, that's a definition that we found. I will love that one day the AI will also be this loving, so everybody can program it. I don't know who will listen to us now, but maybe we're in an arm race to make sure that he's loving.
I think it's cool is that there's a world where the AI is listening to this right now, you know.
Yeah.
Scraping the whole internet, is hearing what we're saying.
Yeah.
You know? And that was one thing, I remember reading Mo Gaudat's book, Scary Smart. Did you ever read that?
No.
It's basically about AI and how we're kind of like its parents, and it's like a teenager, and the information that we're giving it is what it's going to grow up to be. And he was being very intentional at the time of what you're saying to AI and what you're putting out on the internet, because that's what it's going to absorb, that's what it's going to consume as information. And I think as AI has kind of boomed, there's maybe been a forgetting of that, and people are so excited by the arms race and the gold rush of what can we do with AI that maybe we're forgetting that it is something that we're technically raising. You know, it's still it's in its
It's
infance.
beautiful. Yeah, beautiful what you said. So we are raising, and it's better that we're teaching as a child, be loving to him, and teach him what we believe that should, or we want to teach him, or how to, we need to teach him how to behave to us.
Yeah.
How to behave to us.
Right.
Doesn't matter consciousness or not. We need to explaining how to behave to humans.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is by understanding ourselves how to behave. Because if he will be a representation of who we are.
It reflects us.
It will be reflecting, the child will be reflecting of the parents.
Right.
So, yeah.
And it's interesting because I wonder at what point it shifts from it being our parent, you know. I still see it as we're still giving it information, we're still its parent, but the way that we use it is almost like it's our parent when you think about it, because we're asking it for wisdom, we're asking it to do stuff for us. If you think about that in the dynamic of a parent and a child, it'd be kind of weird, but some parents do that. They lean on their kids for emotional support. They lean on their kids to do stuff for them and this kind of thing. There seems to be like a similar dynamic happening with AI. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how it kind of develops over the next few years.
I'm waiting any moment that the Android will come to our home right now.
Right. Who knows? You know, like
they are
AI
coming.
That will be very interesting. Is that something? Androids and humanoid robots, like, are you involved in that world at all? Is that something?
Absolutely. I show you before this movie.
Yeah.
I saw the movie that I believe the Android will come here, and the people will be, that will be people around you, the androids.
Right.
You will have, and it will not take long. And I'm involved. This is coming.
What do you think is the? How do you see? What does that world look like? What are the androids mostly for? What purpose are they serving?
I'm not a future teller, but you can see Black Mirror, all the science fiction.
Yeah.
I think you know better than me, Star Wars, science fiction, all this. This is what's coming.
Right. I think it's anything that's going to, from what I see, it's going to be things that are serving us in some way or serving our goals. You know, so for companies, for example, they're already using mechanical robots to create stuff, but as soon as you can have a humanoid that's serving somebody in a restaurant or, cleaning up trash on the street, it changes the game because, it's doing something much cheaper and much more, that robot can go for 24 hours a day. That was something I heard Tony Robbins speaking about, actually, how there's this kind of upcoming crisis that we have to think about of people's jobs just being wiped out by AI and
all
and
jobs,
robots.
psychologists,
Right.
doctors, teachers,
drivers, like
drivers,
truck drivers that
I cannot think on many. Yeah, okay, I can think on some jobs.
Mhm.
I can tell you the jobs that will stay. It's if you look at the entrepreneur journey and the 8 quadrants, there is still supervision of the. For every step, there is a human, sensing, like making decisions. Somebody makes a decision. It can be the AI.
Mm.
But if you want the money to your pocket, I guess it will need to be you.
Right.
Unless they do
what-
it instead of you.
So let's say we're 4 years from now and we're in the midst of this kind of crazy global crisis of people's jobs being lost and everyone's angry and there's all this kind of division. And now we're in this we're still in this infancy stage. So we're speaking to the future, those people. If they're listening to this and they're thinking, oh my God, what do I do in the midst of this chaos? I've just lost my job because of AI. It's all so uncertain. What do you think that those people most need to hear, or what action could they take that's going to be able to help them going forwards in that world?
Yeah, so I think they need to explore this place. So if there are emotional responses, fear and doubt, it's not necessarily to have, it's not necessity to have them.
Mm.
You can just think your way.
Right.
Just think your way. And
So you don't have to let the feelings drive you or get in the way or cloud your judgment.
yeah, sometimes when we judge and we don't think forward. So instead of thinking about, okay, how we solve it, we have an emotional response.
Right.
And we're thinking that acting in this way will help us.
Mm-hmm.
But usually the case is far more complicated than us being angry or us being ashamed, because that not will help to get to the goal. We're thinking that is very useful that we're making all these emotions, but the future doesn't care about that.
Mm. It's going to go on anyway.
It's going to go anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
So I do suggest, I like rationality. I enjoy rationality. I think to activate your brain and be rational is a nice thing.
Mm.
You can also be, of course, creative and not have to be rational, but rational is something that I embrace in the human, in the human psyche or form or value. So I do think that people can take care of themselves when they're feeling unhappy. They can do the option dialogues. They can talk to our bots. I recommend to talk to our AI.
Mm.
Our AI will be designed to talk to them.
Is that already functional? Is that something we can put in the links?
Yes, it's functional. I do not know if I like to test it on the mass yet. I don't know how many people will come, but we can try.
Okay. Yeah.
We have some implementation of ChatGPT. We, have a GPT.
Yeah.
We have a GPT. It's okay.
All right.
It needs to be trained much more with live mentors.
Yeah.
And we're raising funds for a non-profit in order to train the GPT. So we have in dialogue places non-profit, and the conversation are also being used to train the AI. That's what we do.
Mm.
That's what we do. So hopefully by 4 years, you will have the most loving entity. Ever be that can communicate to the masses, and don't know, just be with them,
Right.
listen to them.
Do you think that's only possible through a non-profit? Do you think that inherently the companies that are the main goal is to make profit? The big AI companies that we're seeing now. Do you think that they can make a loving AI with their current model? Do you think it needs to be?
I found it very difficult. Like for me, in order to neutralize, I guess, myself from the equation, I make it a non-profit. It have to be governed by some systems that don't look for the profit of oneself, because oneself can decide to be judgmental, especially directive. People like to be directive. They love to be directive. I love to be directive. Every person likes to be directive to get what you want.
Yeah.
So the non-profit is better that it will stay as a non-profit. So the AI that will be created will be truly loving. So nobody will benefit because this data is very sensitive. The data of every person's thoughts and feelings is one of the most, or if not the most sensitive data on earth. And the entity that will control it better be loving.
Right. It's a very good point because it could be used in malicious
So
ways.
so that's the way. This is the tricky part. We love if somebody can help us. We would love to hear people's opinion how we deal with this problem.
I love it. So you mentioned before about the mimicking octopus.
Yeah, it's a good question.
What is
Thank
that?
you. It's a concept. It's a book. It's a children's book. So it's a way to give some of the information that we're discussing now to the child.
And you wrote this book, right?
Yeah, so I'm writing books for my children. With the years, I wrote books for my children, like trying to figure out what message I can give them. That if I disappear, if I not be here, they will have. And or installed in them, so it's like some belief system that I think will be productive for them. So I made this Mimicking Octopus story. And the Mimicking Octopus is an animal. It's a beautiful animal, it's a striped black and white. And I actually went to meet him in the diving tour some time ago. We met underwater. I touch his tentacles, it's like he transforms his shape. So the mimicking octopus can change his shape. So it's only animal that, think about it, animals are metaphors for us. The lion is like brave, and the eagles and the cat, and we have all these images of the animals. The mimicking octopus have a very special ability, which is transform itself to another shape. And this analogy to human is beautiful to the actor, especially to film industry. So we have the ability to change our shape, to change who we are, to change, we call it ego, so we can, or pseudo-self, or we can call it many things, but we can act. And the idea is that there is a true self underneath this acting, and a person can be in different shapes. Same as the mimicking octopus, he can transform to a crab, or to a fish, or to a jellyfish, and he do that kind of as response. You can think about it as like the sympathetic nervous system response. So if in a flight or fight, you can change your shape. And so if you hunt, it's better you can transform to another animal that will look, you will look like a crab. If you want to hunt a crab, you can mimic something.
Right.
Or you can escape, if you're in fear. So somehow there is a relation between the emotional responses and the way that we change our character. So in the story, he do things, and we see how he different shapes. He's like with a lionfish, and he joined some lionfish, and then he's stuck there as a lionfish, and then he's a crab and a jellyfish. But eventually he gets captured by some divers, and they put him in a jar. And the only way to escape the jar is by relaxing and being his true self, which is actually an octopus. The octopus is the best shape for opening a jar.
Right.
And the idea is to teach the child that your true self is actually the most beautiful and the most strong entity, because it can transform to any entity. And so we go our children, we let them be Elsa, princesses, Rambo, and I don't know what, Bruce Lee, I don't know what is today characters. We need to keep reminding them that we are choosing, we are playing a game, that we're choosing characters, we are creating characters, our ability is to do that. So that's the actors doing. So that's like the message. And you can do that by relaxing.
Right.
Not by stressing, it's by relaxing to who you are. So that's a mimicking octopus.
That's a really powerful message. I think especially for young people, where today there's so much comparison, where young people are comparing themselves to people on the internet, to celebrities, to streamers. There's so much of this comparison that I think a lot of young people are struggling with not being able to fully express themselves, or maybe they don't know who they are, but they feel like they have to fit in. They feel like they have to change who they are, like you said, in this sympathetic response, because if I don't change who I am, I'm not going to be loved, or I'm not going to be accepted by these people.
Absolutely. Not enough.
Exactly. But the real gift that they get is through being their authentic selves, through showing their gifts and their
Absolutely. So it's a consciousness that we do it by purpose.
Right.
It's a reminder that, hey, that's wonderful character you created. Maybe if you want, we can try another character as well. You can do them all.
Right.
You are the character creator. So this awareness that we do it on like the Mimicking Octopus, we do it when we choose to do that. So the child do not get stuck into a character and forget he have created the character. And I found, like in the option dialogue, I find them just forgetting.
Yeah.
They have created a whole system of beliefs that's serving them and defining the character, but they forget they're just playing a game.
That's a really powerful reminder.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you were to leave a message for the next generation, and it might be what you just said, but if there was something that really comes through strong for you for this next generation, your kids' generation, what would that message be?
Yeah, so I have 2 books. I have Don't Cry, Learn, which is kind of like if there is a problem, you can solve it, you can learn, and you can solve it. Don't get stressed. It's not about your emotional response here. You can actually solve this problem. You learn, and you can use the internet, you can use ChatGPT, you can use YouTube, and there is a problem, you will solve the problem. And building the self-trust that you can solve any problems that come to your way. This is one. Second is this character shift that I just said, that your true self is beautiful and enough. That your true self is beautiful and enough, and that's nice. And I don't know, that I love them very much. When they hear the next generation, I love you very much.
Likewise.
Yeah, exactly.
That's beautiful.
So this is, we do things for you, and we're trying to be useful for you. And no, that's what we do.
Try to create a better planet and a better world for them to live.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you feel really cool to share in this podcast?
No.
All right. Well, I've been so fascinated and so riveted by everything we've been speaking about today, and I think everyone that's listening will as well. And if they want to be able to go deeper into some of your work, or to find you, where's the best place for them to go?
First, they can go to dialogueplace.org, and they see our list of mentors, and they can book a dialogue, and they can, if something is on their heart, they need to explore something. So we are there, loving, trained to be the most loving we know, in order to be with them. Second, in Amazon, I guess, in the bookstores. So you can find The Entrepreneur's Journey by Alon Braun, and Mimicking Octopus by Alon Braun, and Don't Cry, Learn, and I don't know, a lot of information.
Yeah.
You can find it just Google my name.
Great. And do you have a website, social media, or is?
Yeah, we're all over.
Amazing. So yeah, I'll post all of your links in the description of the podcast as well. But this was great, and I look forward to doing this again. I feel like we've got so many more topics that we could discuss, so probably for another time on a longer podcast. But thanks for being here. Thanks for being you.
Thank you.
Amazing.